I also really like Colin Sexton.
I'm not mad at it.
Really like for Cleveland. To me, it depends on how you play it. If Braun's still there, I think you need a guard because, like you said, I think George here has 1 year left on his deal anyway.
Trae Young is like in that projection class of potentially falling to Cleveland at 8, which would be insane. That would be hilarious. But Braun's not staying, so it don't matter.
The reason why I don't want Trae Young in Cleveland is just because, like, I'm just thinking about the defense I saw earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, Trae Young's gonna score his 20 points, but he's gonna give up 25. That's my only issue with Trae Young.
I mean, he's still young. I'm sure people said the same thing about Steph.
I feel like Steph's always been a feisty defender.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He's always been feisty. Now he might get roasted, but he's always been feisty. Always. Even going back to college, I think Steph's been always a feisty defender. It's just Steph just looks like a defensive liability.
Trae Young looks like a defensive liability.
Exactly. But I think Trae Young is way more of a liability than what Steph is. I also don't think Trae Young is the athlete that Steph is. Steph's a really good athlete, and I don't think people give Steph the credit for that.
Yeah, they really don't.
I don't think people give Steph credit enough for, like, it's not like Steph just any 6'3" person walking around. Like, nah, Steph is a top-tier athlete. Now, he may not be Russ, but Steph is a really good athlete.
He's still, what can he squat 400 pounds? Yeah, you gotta be a good athlete.
I saw the man windmill. So literally, I throw the ball in the air, catch it in windmill. Like, he did that. Saw the man windmill. He's a really good athlete.
I saw Steph windmill.
But no, for Cleveland, I would really like Colin Sexton as if Braun stays. If he doesn't stay, just pick the best player. Whoever you think is the best player on the board, you pick that and make it work.
Yeah, but I don't think. But the problem is, you're not gonna be able to know if Braun's staying before the draft.
Oh yeah.
So you gotta. So if I'm them, I don't know, man. This is gonna be.
Give me Sexton. Give me Sexton then.
I mean, fine. I'm fine with that. I don't think he's gonna fall that far though.
Yes, he is. Who gonna pick him before then? Cause I think Trae Young would be the first PG off the board before Sexton.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he would definitely be the first point guard off the board. See, but that's. Yeah, and the funny part is, like, in all these draft mocks, they have Colin Sexton coming right after Trae Young. So we're going to the Knicks. Why are the Knicks drafting another point guard? I want Trae Young to go to the Knicks though. I really do. I don't want to see him in Cleveland. I really want him to go to the Knicks. Because I know that regardless of whether it's a shit show or it's the greatest thing that you've ever seen, it's going to be one of them. It's going to be one of them. It's either going to be the worst thing you've ever seen or it's going to be the greatest thing you've ever seen.
just thinking about, again, now you've never seen somebody Porzingis' size come back off of ACL. ACLs seem to be things that you can easily get over now, but everybody who get one ain't 7'2". It's a little bit different when you 7'2", when you got to put that weight on that. It's a little bit different. But in theory, if he can come back healthy, and even Ntilikina, like, I don't know if Ntilikina is a point guard. He might be better served as like an off guard, but he's 6'6", so you can make it work and make it managed. I don't think you think Courtney Lee is your 2 guard of the future out there in New York.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so.
But even then, you running out.
Why the not? You got Trae Young, Ntilikina.
You looking in the East, though, you need guys that can create and that can score.
There you go. I've seen Ntilikina score.
I'm talking about create. You got to go up against the Celtics, the 76ers.
Trae Young. You got Trae Young out there. You'll have Porzingis as well coming back. Just me thinking about the shooting combination of pairing Trae Young and Porzingis. Like, can you imagine that pick and pop? Who you gonna take? You got some real questions about who you gonna take.
I guess.
Porzingis and Trae Young?
Look. I still don't believe in Trae Young that much.
I don't know how.
I believe in him enough to be a Cav because I know that LeBron being great and him having the gravitas of a great player is going, like, his gravitational pull is going to make Trae Young work harder because you don't want to embarrass Bron, especially after coming off the season you had in the NCAA. Last thing you want to do is be a rookie and embarrass Bron if Bron stays. But I don't think Bron stands, so I don't really know. But but even in that situation, a lot of his game, like everybody said about Steph, looks fluky. Steph is a once-in-a-generational type talent. Trae Young, to me, is like a flip of a coin in terms of whether that's going to happen or not. And
I agree.
And I'm leaning more towards likely not being able to happen because he can't create off the dribble the way that I think that he needs to be able to create off the dribble like Steph can. I think Trae Young is, I think what you saw, a lot of us like, all right, fine, you're going to shoot bullshit shots. Go ahead and shoot bullshit shots, but you're not going to come in and you're not going to be able to make anybody else better. So he was just standing out there in a tournament and in those last games, where they was losing, just chucking up threes.
I mean, to be fair, he wasn't playing with nobody either.
Yeah, but still, but Steph wasn't playing with nobody either.
Nah, I disagree with that.
The other guy wound up leading the NCAA in assists. You wonder why? Because he played with Steph Curry.
No, listen. Davidson, when you compare them to like North Carolina, of course, like they don't have top level elite talent. But I think they're in like the Ohio Valley Conference.
Yeah.
For that conference, like they were a good ass team. For the Big 12, no.
Yes, I mean,
for the Big 12, no. Trae Young went out there with nobody. Yeah. For Steph's conference, Davidson was a good ass team. The guy who led the nation in assists was probably the best point guard in the conference. I'm pretty sure of it. They probably had the best backcourt by far in the conference.
Because Steph Curry.
That's cool, but also him and his own, he wasn't a horrible player. You can't put me out there and think I'm going to lead the nation in the fucking assists because I play with Steph.
No, I'm not, but the guy was an NBA prospect.
Okay, but half of them people in those conferences aren't.
True.
It's like one in most of those conferences.
True.
So in that conference, they probably had they for sure had the best backcourt by miles.
True.
Trae Young in his conference ain't out there playing with nobody.
True, but when he get in the NBA, the
floor will open up a little bit for him.
The floor opens up a little bit, but the level of competition becomes stiffer. The game becomes faster. Those passes that you making when you running and gunning are going to be intercepted. Those threes and those off the dribble moves, when you can make those and take 2 dribbles and get past a college defender, that NBA defender going to be right there with you step for step. Even the big guys. You're looking at the way Kevin Love was defending Steph Curry in Game 2. When Steph was going out there off the dribble, Kevin Love might not have been able to keep up with him every single second, but he was there with him step by step for the majority of those shots. So with Trae Young, I don't know. But also, even looking at Steph was skinny and scrawny. Who knows? Trae Young might come in and develop more of a body. He got a slightly longer wingspan than Steph. He's not that small of a guy. He's not a Chris Paul type of height.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows? Personally, I want to see him go to the Cavs or the Knicks. But only going to the Cavs if LeBron James is on the Cavs. If LeBron is not going to be on the Cavs, I don't want to see this man on the Cavs.
I'm just really interested.
It's going to be him and Kevin Love choking up shots in this terrible basketball.
I'm just really interested in seeing Trae Young in the league because it's the first time we get to see the real effect of Steph.
Yeah.
Like, this is the closest thing we've seen to what looks like what Steph does, and I just want to see how sustainable it is. Because I said a couple years ago, like, Steph is going to have people making horrible draft decisions. Somebody going to pick somebody, and they going to think he going to be Steph Curry, and he going to come in, he going to not be Steph Curry.
Buddy Hield.
Yeah, Buddy Hield going to be like, no, Buddy Hield's not.
Decent.
Yeah, he's decent.
I can't hate on Buddy.
He's decent, but he's not Steph. Yeah, but he's not Steph. Like, there's a little bit different between solid shooting and Steph Curry.
Yeah, what's
a little bit different.
King's name? I mean, on the name, Ronda Dive or whatever.
I don't know.
You tell him that.
The difference between good shooter and Steph Curry is a little bit different. Like, the same thing Steph does is just like finding a fucking LeBron. You just not finding them two people just like, no. It looks like, hey, if I shoot 1,000 shots a day, I can do the same thing. No, you can't. No, you can't. You're going to look really foolish doing it. So I'm really just interested to see Trae Young next year, being that he's the first player that we've seen come out pretty much in the mold of a Steph Curry. Really interested to see him play.
I think it'll be interesting, but I mean, we'll see. I think that this draft will probably be not the greatest draft in history from a talent perspective, but probably the greatest draft in history from like a we don't know what exactly is going to happen, because there's so much talent in it. Even when you're looking at like when LeBron, D Wade, and all those guys were drafted. We kind of had a semblance of what the order would look like, but it wasn't this many decisions. Teams weren't moving that much. Personnel wasn't switching that much. Coaches weren't switching that much at that point in time. Yeah. It's a totally different landscape, but the NBA, social media wasn't around back then. This is an entirely different ball game, and the level of talent in this draft class, like, I'll put it this way, in the drafts with like the Ben Simmons or the Embiids, you might have 1 or 2 of those guys. You got like 8 of those guys in this draft, potentially. Where you could have those guys be like franchise-changing players. So I think it'll be interesting.